Died intestate, you say. $500 million in debt and 3 kids and no will? Custody of Michael Jackson's children goes temporarily to his mother. Custody of the weirdest possible reaction to his death goes permanently to his father. Yesterday...
Remember, we just lost the biggest star in the world, superstar in the world, so it's been tough.
Son. You just lost your son. Today...
I was very proud of my son, and the legacy of Michael will still go on. I promise you that.
And what about Dr. Feelgood? Sorry, Dr. Conrad Murray.
When everything is finally resolved in this case, Dr. Murray will be exonerated.
Later, Michael Jackson and the last video. Joe Jackson speaks about his late son in between plugs for his new record label. Good thing the mourning period is being respected by the family. And there is breaking news tonight about what the coroner's office pulled out of Jackson's medicine cabinet this afternoon. Cabinets? You're watching Countdown on MSNBC. Breaking high def news. Breaking news from the Los Angeles Times on what coroners found in Michael Jackson's rented home today, coming up in a second. Already decided his mother gets custody of Jackson's kids, at least for now. Now who gets custody of Jackson's father? Our third story on the Countdown, the Jackson Roundup, and prefacing this with the caveat that his son is dead, he might be acting this way out of grief. But goodness, should your first 2 public appearances after that death really be devoted to how big a superstar he was and to the new record company you are launching? The news, such as it is today, late today, family attorney Londell McMillan told NBC that if Michael Jackson left a will, he has not seen it. Manager Frank DeLeo claims also that Jackson had a will, but he can't prove it. McMillan added that under California law, if there is no will, the estate would then go to the next of kin, in this case an adult administrating and overseeing for the best interests of the children. Also this morning, federal judge Michael Beckloff approved Katherine Jackson's request for temporary custody of Michael Jackson's 3 children, but he refused to name her administrator of her son's estate, so her attorney has filed a new petition about that. There may be more money in it than you would guess in that estate. The Associated Press reporting tonight that 2 weeks before he died, Jackson finished up a video called Dome Project, on which he had worked for 5 weeks. Also, the LA County coroner followed up his initial investigation with a visit to Jackson's Bel Air home. This as the family awaits the results of a second and private autopsy it requested and received yesterday. The coroner's office says it retrieved medication from the Jackson home today. Investigators emerging from the mansion off Sunset Boulevard bearing 2 large plastic bagfuls. And then there was the freak show, a Joe Jackson news conference at which first we had a kind of unintentional flashback to his son's early childhood.
What I'm doing is I established a record company with Marshall, and the company is called Marantz Record, distributed by Blue Star and Blu-ray.
And then the personal touch, another strange statement from somebody who has just lost a child.
The legacy of Michael will still go on. I promise you that.
Joining us once again, Los Angeles Times reporter Andrew Blankstein. Thanks for some more of your time tonight, sir.
Thanks, Keith.
That investigation we mentioned before, you're reporting on the evidence that the investigators found at Jackson's rented home today. What more can you tell us about this?
Well, today they removed 2 bags of evidence from the home. This is in addition to prescription medication that they retrieved last week. And so one of the things that we're hearing is that this shows kind of a broadening of the investigation. Some of these prescriptions were prescribed over years. And so one of the things we're learning is that they are looking at a number of doctors. Obviously, in the past few days, we've been hearing about Dr. Murray. And one of the things that this is indicating is that, again, there are other physicians that might have prescribed a medication that they are looking at.
So when his friend Deepak Chopra said last week on this news hour that Michael Jackson was always capable of finding somebody to get him prescription drugs that he thought he needed as opposed to what a doctor might have thought, and that's what they should be investigating as much as anything else at this point, it sounds like to some degree the coroner's office maybe coincidentally is doing just that?
I think the coroner's office, Los Angeles Police Department's Robbery Homicide Division, they are looking at all this. Obviously, it's not a criminal investigation, as we've noted, but one of the things they want to establish is a timeline in this case, and also who had access to him, who prescribed medication, what was that medication, and one of the ways to do it is not only retrieving this evidence, but interviewing a number of these doctors.
Why is, having some experience covering the entire mixed bag that is law enforcement in Southern California, explain why robbery homicide would be involved in this. I'm assuming it's because there isn't actually a Department of well, for Wes, no other term to use here, but there's no department of doctors who help celebrities feel good.
Correct. Well, the bottom line is why you would call in robbery homicide detectives. It's the elite detectives at the Los Angeles Police Department.
Mm-hmm.
They specialize in complicated and high-profile cases, and this would definitely fit the bill. And again, one of the things that's really important here as you try to establish what really happened is kind of keeping somewhat of a veil of investigative secrecy over it.
But to the degree that that veil is impossible, let me just recap this and see if I understand it correctly. What they found today, these two bagfuls, these two plastic bags that the videotape shows them taking out, is in addition to whatever was found on scene last week when Jackson collapsed and was removed from that place off Sunset Boulevard?
That's correct. It's in addition to.
The other legal aspects of this, what you have on it, starting with Jackson's children, his mother granted guardianship, hearings slated soon. Is any signs that anybody's going to be outside of the family fighting for custody here? The mother that we don't know about, or Debbie Rowe, or anything else, or is this might move more fluidly than originally thought?
Well, one of my colleagues talked to the attorney for Debbie Rowe. At this point, she's not made a decision on whether she wants to move forward with either trying to challenge guardianship or visitation. It's not really clear at this point, and I'm sure it'll be one of many court filings that we'll see. This is kind of the first volley. Is the first big legal thing going to be about whether or not there actually is a valid will? That'll be one of the key things, and obviously you've heard different reports. The attorney who was standing next to Joe Jackson last night at the BET Awards said he hadn't seen a will, but just because he hadn't seen a will doesn't mean there isn't a will, and that's one of the things that under California law you have 30 days to come forward, so that's where we're headed in that direction. Yeah, and a reminder, that might not be a nefarious thing. A 50-year-old man probably doesn't think he's going to have to produce or his survivor is going to have to produce a will suddenly. Andrew Blankstein of the LA Times sharing with us what they've just posted on the website and will be in the paper in the morning. Great thanks for both, and thanks for your time. Thank you so much. And